Today on Dylan Talks Tone, we're going to do a rapid fire FAQ that you asked all these questions. How's it going? My name is Dylan, and this is Dylan Talks Tone. That's Leslie, right over there, from Music and Mascara. You know, Music and Mascara. Anyway, we were about to go to dinner, but I realized that about 3 weeks ago, I did a thing in the little community part of YouTube and asked you for just some random questions so that we could put together a rapid fire FAQ, and we have 8 questions, so here we go. What pot and cap values? No, you know what? Let's make sure that these people that ask these questions get acknowledged. This is Boojba1. I don't know where he's from or who he is because he has a purple face. Hey there, Dylan. What pot and cap values would you recommend to give greatest balance between a PAF humbucker neck and a vintage Telly bridge pickup configuration? Thanks, Jimmy. Jimmy must be his real name. Okay, so here's what I would do. Pot and cap values to balance between a single coil bridge pickup and a humbucker neck pickup. I would say I would use a 500, and then I would use a .047 cap because you can really cut a lot of highs out of that if you want. It gives you a long tone knob and a lot of range. That's what I do on my personal guitars. In fact, I'm building a Telly for myself right now with that exact same setup. Next, Thomas wants to know, hey Dylan, can you explain how the orange gumdrop works and how it affects the tone and the pots? I assume that you're thinking about the orange drop capacitor and you want to know how it affects the tone over some other sort of capacitor. I want to do a video specifically about this, but what I will say is don't stress so much about the material of the capacitor itself and focus more on the value and the pots that you're working with along with the pickups. And we'll link to the video, you know, what pots you should choose and what caps you should choose to go along. There's some really good videos on that. In fact, there's a whole playlist to do that, okay? So to really dive into that, don't worry so much about the material. I need to do a video specifically on the material of pots. So thank you for the idea, Mr. Thomas. Okay, next. What was the first guitar you ever put together? And what was the first guitar that you ever owned? So the first guitar that I ever owned, acoustic or electric, was like a Stella 3/4 size when I was like 6 years old, and it hurt my fingers and I didn't want to play anymore, so I quit. And then at about 12 years old, my dad gave me the candy apple red Strat that hangs in the background of some of the videos today. If you watch some of our other videos, you'll see that candy apple red Strat hanging there. That actually, my dad gave me that when I was 13, and so that was my first kind of real guitar, and I'll never ever sell it. I still play that on and off even now. As far as the first guitar that I ever built, this is a little bit of a split question. I actually worked with another guitar builder for a few years, and so of course the first early stuff was Tellys. The first set of pickups I ever made a long time ago went into a cigar box guitar. The first guitar I ever built was probably a Telly, and the first guitar that I ever built with the Dylan brand on it was a seafoam green Telly with a perloid binding and block inlays. Really pretty guitar. In fact, I still know the owner that actually has that guitar still. That was many guitars ago now. Let's see, and the same person asked, oh no, that was the same question twice. Next person, and he literally he's from a country that, I'm sorry, I don't know how to read your language or say your name, but Google Translator says, is it possible to make humbucker pickups from noiseless pickups? This is an interesting question. I think what you're asking me, is the noiseless, like a noiseless single coil, can you make it into a humbucker pickup, like take 2 of them and put them together? I guess theoretically you probably could, but it wouldn't really work that well because you already have 2 coils, so you would have 4 coils and it would be a wiring nightmare. I would not recommend it. Let's see, Emmanuel wants to know, who is your favorite artist and what genres or groups do you listen to? As far as guitar playing goes, actually, you just asked that question. Believe it or not, I'm not a huge guitarist junkie. I love guitar players. I do have a lot of guitar music and I really enjoy it. But if I'm gonna listen to music by myself, like if I'm just gonna throw something on the stereo, when it's my choice, it's going to be some sort of electronic music. DJ Shadow being my favorite electronic DJ of all time. If I'm going to listen to music with guitar in it, it's probably going to be something very conceptual and something that tells a story. I'm trying to think of something right now. It's not going to be very well known, probably. I like to really explore guitar players. I actually posted a thing on my Facebook very recently about modern guitar players. So if we're talking about modern guitar players, I like John Mayer. I like John 5. I like more people than just people named John. Let's see. JD Simo. Those are the three that I can think of right now as far as guitar related stuff that I really like. Let's see. Joshua asks, I'd like to know what the price is for an S-style guitar with a hot rod finish and a whole bunch of specs that he reads to me. I will get with you, Josh, because there will be some questions we need to ask and some, think about what you want with this build in addition to the details that you have here. But I'll get with you because that would be a fun build. But he's actually asking for a Strat style guitar with a tremolo that only goes forward. He wants a Floyd, but he doesn't want it to float, which I have a great idea for that. A really good Floyd came out last year that's really cool for that. He wants it to be maple. He wants it to be a compound radius. He wants Ridgeslite with mother of pearl block inlays. That would be very interesting. And he wants a vintage tint finish on its neck. This is a very one-of-a-kind guitar, and it's going to be really fun to talk to you about that, Josh. I'm very excited. Let's see. The last question for our rapid-fire FAQ is, what do you think, this is very interesting, what do you think of people that talk down on and look down on people that own or use high-end pieces of gear? I've encountered quite a few musicians who use cheap stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. And they talk a storm about people that play on higher end stuff, especially Gibson stuff. They use terms like brand whore. I'm kind of sensitive to this too. I say you play whatever you want that inspires you to play. If you have a guitar that makes you really want to play guitar, if you have a guitar that makes you pick it up and you're like, you know what? I don't want to put it down. I just want to keep playing. That's the guitar for you. I don't care what it says on the peg head. And you're right. There is a lot of working musicians on a day-to-day basis. Facebook groups and forums on the internet will lead you to believe that the group of people that has very high-end gear and really cares about every little nuance of all this stuff is a huge group. But I will tell you that it is actually quite the opposite. I'm in the business of it. We get phone calls and letters and emails about it every day, like dozens of people all the time saying, I play with Boss pedals, I use a Line 6 amp, I use a Squier Telly, and I'd like to know how I can make it sound a little better. That is the majority of people on my YouTube channel, on many people's YouTube channels, and in any bar down the street on a Friday night. The majority of people are using just plain old gear that we all can get because we know it's reliable and it makes good sound. Just do me a favor. Don't worry about any of it. Just pick up the next instrument that gets in front of you that makes you want to play and play that guitar. That's all that really matters, and that's really the goal of Dylan Talks Tone YouTube channel, is to help you do that. I don't really care about all the other stuff as long as you want to play more guitar. That's all it really is. You guys, this was really fun. Thank you for answering my little please give me some questions for a rapid fire FAQ. There was 8 of them. There was actually 7 because the one was in there twice. So we'll call it 7 rapid fire questions. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell next to it. That will tell you the next time we come out with a cool video. We've got stuff coming out every week. This was a little extra one that I wanted to throw in there just for you because you asked for it. And I really appreciate everybody that listens to our channel, that watches our channel, that shares our videos with other people. that buy our t-shirts, that, you know, all the things that really help us continue to grow this awesome community that gets to ask these cool questions, that we get to have these conversations. I really, really appreciate everybody that watches. I think we've had over 1 million, way over now, 1 million views on our YouTube channel. It's just really cool, and it makes me feel really good to be able to be part of this community. I hope everybody has a good one, and we'll talk to you soon.